wonderful night. And yes, you should tell someone that needs to be here tonight. All right, so my name is Eniola, and I am the community manager here at Vesti. As we all know that it's the H1B season. I know someone is asking for the first timers, what's H1B? You're going to know a lot about it today. However, I'm just going to give you a brief. So the H1B is the lottery visa that we all know by the US, right? So we need to give everyone the insight they need to know about this particular route. We have different routes in having to move to the US, but presently the H1B visa lottery for the year 2025 is the one currently ongoing. And from research, we found out that so many people just don't know certain things about this particular route, and Vesti took it upon herself to educate people and to let them know. And we didn't just have to just set up a meeting like this. We literally had to bring an expert, someone who has, been in this field for the longest of time, and that's the person of the CEO and of course co-founder here at Vesti, Mr. Abimbola Amusan. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thanks for having me on this call, this webinar. I'm happy to join everybody here. Good evening, everyone. It's afternoon in my time zone, and I'm excited to talk to you guys about the H1B visa.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. All right. So I'd like to say good evening to all of my guests right now. I have Ayadeji Adeshokon. I don't know if I'm correct. Good evening, sir. I'd like to know where you're joining us from. You can drop it in the comment section, please. Just say hi to me. Okay, I think I have with me here. Sorry, please. I have with me here Mr. Babatunde Akinlabi. I have with me here Chibaby Onyedibe. Good evening, Chibaby. Good evening, Elizabeth Kumi. Good evening, Mr. Elogosa Okundaye. All right, thank you. Good evening, Mr. Kingsley. Good evening, Mr. Michael. And also good evening to everyone present here. I'm so excited to have you all here. I wouldn't know if anyone joined our last webinar. If you were, all right, so give me a minute. Be right back. So sorry about that. We'll be right back. We know this is Nigeria, so yeah. All right, so I wouldn't know if anyone joined our last webinar. Our last webinar, we really did something different where we allowed everyone on the webinar to introduce themselves and they were able to say one or two things. So I wouldn't know if it's okay to try that today, because that sort of created an avenue for everyone to ask questions from the guests we had. And the topic for the last webinar was smart relocation, smart financing for relocation. And it was such an insightful, webinar. And should you want to know more about it, please feel free to visit our YouTube channel. Yes, Vesti app, then you get to see it on YouTube. Then you can get to, watch and know more about this webinar. But today we are talking about the H1B visa lottery. Should you don't know, let me just let you know that we have so many people that literally on this, and this is your chance to get to the US that you've been meaning to, go or looking for the opportunity to get to the US. This is an opportunity for you. Don't be like Chidima last year that was saying, oh, I'm going to try again next year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. This is an opportunity. And you would agree with me that policies are changing. So you should take the step right now to begin your process. So today we'll be talking about the unknown insights on the H1B visa. And like I said, I have my amiable CEO and of course an expert in the field. Now he'll be taking us through the H1B, the unknown inside that is unknown to myself and you. I literally do not know also as well. So that's why we had to bring him on board to give us the insight that is unknown to the H1B applicants, soon to be H1B applicants. Oh, yes. So, yes, I'll be handing over the mic to my dear CEO, Mr. Abimbola Amazon. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening again. Hello, everyone. Once again, thanks for having me on this webinar. I'll be sharing a few slides with you, but before then, I would give a brief introduction into what the H-1B visa is. The US has two broad categories of visas, known as the immigrant visas and the non-immigrant visas. The immigrant visas allow you to stay permanently in the US, aka get you a green card. And the non-immigrant visas let you stay in the US for a period of time and for a specific purpose. So this purpose can be tourism, it can be study, it can be work, it can be anything, right? But they usually have a start date and an end date. That's when you have to leave or extend. Most non-immigrant visas also let you convert to something permanent. So let's say you come in as a student and you have a 2-year visa as a student. Then you find another route that you're qualified for to get you a green card. You don't have to go back home or wait for the visa to expire. You can actually renew it or convert it to something more permanent. So sometimes the non-immigrant visas lead to the immigrant visas. So the H1B is one of the non-immigrant. That's the one that lets you stay temporarily. The H1B visa lets you stay for a 3-year period, and you can extend it for another 3-year period. Or while it is still valid or pending, you can convert to something more permanent, aka permanent residence or green card, right? So that is the broad categorization of visas in the US, immigrant and non-immigrant. So the H1B visa, because it has a duration of 3 years to expire, it is known as a non-immigrant visa, right? Doesn't get you a green card or lead to a green card. So having said that, I try to share my screen. Okay, I have to request from the host, and please check. So check the request, and then I can share a few of these slides. Um, I'll speak through them, and then if people have questions after, we can take. But these are just very important, points and insights that, a lot of misconceptions that people have because it is run through a lottery system. A lot of people also confuse it with the usual or regular American visa lottery. There's a popular American visa lottery that, we all know about. This is different from it. I don't know if you can see my screen yet.
Yes, sir, we can see your screen clearly.
Great, great.
Yes.
Thank you. So, bit of introduction. We are Vesti Technologies. We are a technology company that uses artificial intelligence to simplify immigration and financial services. We help people understand the process that immigration takes, that financial services related to immigration also take, using our mobile and web app. And we have, wallet services, we offer accounts, and so on and so forth. So today we'll be talking about the immigration aspect of things. Uh, Let me move on to the next slide. Okay, so the objective of this session, like I mentioned, is to equip people listening with the knowledge that is important and also strategies around, having a successful H-1B visa application. The visa application is a long one, so you need to understand every step of it, okay? So what is the H-1B visa? Like I mentioned, it is a non-immigrant work visa that allows the United States to hire foreign professionals, right? Of course, not the government. It is usually companies in the United States using this H-1B visa opportunity to bring in foreign workers to help them in specialty occupations. Who is eligible for the H1B? Anyone who has a bachelor's degree or its equivalent. In Nigeria, for example, we have the Higher National Diploma HND, which is an equivalent of the bachelor's degree. Okay. So people who have a US bachelor's degree or a foreign bachelor's degree, all you have to do if you didn't study in the US is to do a credential evaluation or an analysis to show that the bachelor's degree is the same as the bachelor's degree that is offered or granted or issued in the United States. Also, people who have HNDs because they studied that for 4 years, that is also equivalent to a bachelor's degree. Okay. You also need a valid passport, and generally, you need a job offer from a US company. Like I mentioned, this program is for companies in the United States to file work visas for foreign employees. Okay, so it would only make sense for this company to have an offer of employment for you to bring you on this visa. Okay. And then the role that you're coming for must be a specialized occupation. So that is a role that requires a special set of skills or knowledge to perform. Okay. And it's cut across almost all industries, technology, finance, healthcare, whatever, what have you. The point is, as long as it requires a specialized set of experience, skills, and knowledge to perform, it is a specialty occupation. It is also a debatable topic on what is specialty or what is not. For instance, there are some professions like law where it is not all part of the profession that is considered by the United States as specialty. It is, the technical areas like compliance, uh, finance law, and so on and so forth. So, but that is left for the professional like us to figure out on your behalf if you are selected in the H1B lottery. And I'll get there. So, summary is you need a bachelor's degree or its foreign equivalent. You need a job offer, you need a valid passport, and then the role that the company must offer you has to be a specialty occupation role. I hope that is clear. So moving on, how does the H1B work? The H1B works through a lottery system. In the past, it used to be every company would have to submit their applications, and the USCIS would have to deny or approve the applications. But they found out that was too tough because they were getting millions and hundreds of thousands of applications. They were getting a lot of applications. So they figured out that instead of having to deal with this much paperwork, why don't we subject people to a raffle draw or a lottery system where everybody first puts their employees, so let's say you want to hire 10 people, you put all of them in a lottery, and it's only the ones that are selected in that raffle that you can eventually submit document for. That's a little historical background into the H1B lottery. So now the companies must first put or register their potential employees in a lottery. This lottery typically opens in March of every year. And a few weeks after it closes, and an announcement is made of the people who are selected in this lottery. So let's say you put 10 people and four of them are selected. It is then these four people that you will go ahead to file the H1B visa petition for. This way, you're not wasting money to file for all 10, just for a few of them to be approved. You're also not you know, putting a lot of burden on the immigration system where they have to deal with a lot of paperwork. Okay. So it is run through a lottery. People put their potential employees in the lottery, that's companies, and then selection notifications are sent after. The important date to take note in this process is after the lottery is done in March, the people who are selected have a 3 month period between April and June to submit their documents. And these documents usually range from academic, credentials to, work references, resume, credential evaluation, transcripts, certificates, things to just prove that you're a professional qualifying or, that merits this employment. Okay. So The petition filing goes on between April and June as a strict deadline that you don't have to miss because a lot of people get selected just to go on to miss the filing deadline. Okay. And then after that, an approval comes for the petition that is submitted. For the most part, you have most people who are selected have over a 98% chance of getting an approval because if you did not have a bachelor's degree in the first place, I don't think you should have gotten in the lottery. Also, you should be able to fulfill the requirement of like credential evaluation, being offered the specialty occupation role and so on and so forth. But in a few cases where people's credentials are not verifiable, people miss the deadline, people don't submit the required documents, the list is endless. But those are the few things that can trip off the process and get people, a denial. But for the most part, if you are selected in the lottery, you are likely, very, very likely to be selected in or to be approved for the petition. Okay. So the timeline is lottery entry, selection, then petition filing between April and June, and then you wait for a decision. The resumption date every year for every H1B visa holder is October 1st of that year. Okay. So people who enter the lottery in March, file petition between April and June, are expected to resume in their offices by October 1st. Because of how broken the immigration system can be, however, it sometimes takes a little longer than that. So we see people getting their approvals even end of October, but they can still come to resume because they will understand that the delay came from the visa process, not the fault of the employee, because everybody would have submitted their petition, no matter who you are, by June 30th. So it is the decision process, then getting a visa appointment at the embassy, either you're in Lagos, London, whatever country where you have legal stay, you can attend an interview there. And from there, you can move to the United States on the H1B. So moving on from timelines, little known factors that influence selection. For instance, a lot of people do not know that if you do not have a valid visa, let's say your visa expired in January, and you think, oh, I can just go into the lottery with this expired visa, and then when I'm selected, I'm going to put, there's a chance that you might not be selected using an expired visa. That's an example of, things, pitfalls that we would, give you, putting wrong information, date format, for instance, look at this list: incorrect forms, missing document, inconsistent information between uh, employer and employee applications, non-compliance with USCIS guidelines. That's, mistakes in date of birth, last name, all of those things that seem little and small. These are things that can, cause non-selection in the lottery. But if your, application or passport is put in the system very correctly, your chances of getting selected, is high because now you have done your own due diligence and you can leave every other thing to, grace, luck, providence, whatever you want to call it, right? So that is that about common pitfalls. And this is why you need a professional or professionals like our employees and our company, to help you with this process because we have mastered it. We've filed hundreds, we've gotten hundreds of approvals, in all categories of visas. We've been doing this for the longest time. So you need a lot of people say, oh, I can do this myself. Well, it's not, it's a no-brainer. We know you can do it. But there is the power of, you know, consistency of, doing it over and over again, knowing the pitfalls. And this is such a delicate process that a single mistake can have you waiting for a whole year for the next year's lottery. The worst part is most people that get selected in 1 year and maybe make a mistake, miss a deadline, do stuff, and say, okay, you know what, I can try again next year. What are the chances that you'll be selected again next year? Let me give you an example. Last year, there were over 900,000 entries into the H1B pool, and only about 100,000 people were selected. That's that's a little above 10%. So let's say a company puts 20 people, you can have 2 to 3 people or 4 people selected. So that's the luck part of things. The lottery, the raffle draw, we all know how it works. right? So now think about it. You're selected this year. You don't use professionals. You make a silly mistake, and you're like, okay, I'm going to try again next year. What are the chances that you still get lucky? What about the other people? Right. So we always encourage people not to miss that opportunity once they get a chance to be selected in the lottery. Okay. Moving on from there, what does Vesti have to offer me? What do I have to pay you guys? What can I do it myself? First, we give you guidance on your visa. We give you guidance, on the legal aspect of things. That's, submitting the right documents, writing a meritorious petition, cover letters, and all of that. Also, we have financial products, loans, savings plans, and all of that. Not a lot of them apply to the H1B because of the brevity and the shortness of the time. We have most of this financial assistance for students because those usually have like a longer pathway, you know, studying, right? And then we have traditional loans also for, H1B and visa. They're just some, requirements, some collateral requirements, why you have to maybe have a landed property, some of these things. People who offer you money as loans also have to feel safe, right? So that's the reason for all of that. So community and mentorship for immigrants. We are not a type of company that just throws you into the wind once you arrive into the United States. We also give you guidance. We have something called the what's this process called? Where when you come, we also guide you through the things that you need to do, getting insurance, getting a car note, getting buying a car, renting a house, and so on. And so we have support post immigration also. So that makes us stand out among other people in the industry, right? So why choose Vesti? Vesti is trusted by thousands of immigrants, people who are moved already, people who have already gotten their visa, still waiting to move, people who are still in the process. A lot of people trust us, a lot of people have been through us. And then we have exclusive resources for a seamless transition to the United States in this context and even other countries. But that's not the purpose of this meeting. Okay. So we stand out from every other, immigration company that you might know out there. We use technology to facilitate the work that we do. And this has gotten us a lot of results results in the past. Okay, so how do you get to on board, right? So you can sign up on Vesti for expert guidance. We also have a specialized link. Uh, Admin, you can share it in this chat if you have it, where people can click and sign for the H1B visa lottery. The lottery is on right now. It ends. Okay, so put it in the chat box so people can see. The H1B visa lottery ends on the 24th, 2/4. And today is the 12th, I guess, 13th, right? So if you are interested or you have a family member that is interested, you need to move fast. Click on that link, put in your application information, upload your passport, make the necessary payment, and then we'll enter you into the lottery. As regards the employment side of things, a lot of people ask, oh, but I don't have a job offer from a US company. How do I handle this? That's where Vesti comes in. So we have partnered with some HR companies, some recruiters, you can call them um, whatever you want. They are staffing companies. And what they do is they give you a job offer to come into the US as their employee with the sole intention of seconding you or transferring you to another company or some of their partners when they have contract and things to contract you for. Okay. Also, if you get a job on your own with your qualification, you can also transfer your visa. So there's something called the H1B transfer where you can move from company to company at your wish or as you desire. You can do this once you arrive in the United States. So we can give you more information on that if you reach out to us on these um, channels that we have put on our website, on the email, talentvisa@weavesty.com. We also have a dedicated phone number for this process where you get to talk to somebody real time and they can give you as many answers as you desire. Okay, so that is how the employment part of things work. Moving on, well, I think that's the last slide, but I'd like to add that a lot of people ask around, so I'll ask some questions that you might ask. So in case you already had that in mind, once the petition is approved in the US, like I said, people will still have to go to the embassy to, get the visa stamp because the approval letter by itself cannot help you board a plane, right? You still need to take that approval to the embassy to get a visa stamp. And what's the purpose of this? Just for verification purpose, right? They usually like to be sure that it is not a fake document. The consulars at the local embassies are trained. For instance, part of their training might be how to detect fake bachelor certificate in Nigeria. So they would have shown them what UNILAG certificate looks like, OAU, most of those schools, so that if you bring a fake one, they can identify, right? To say, oh, even though you got this approval, this document doesn't look genuine. Or you come and you don't even remember the name of the company that is hiring you, or you don't remember or you don't know the role. Yeah, okay, so what job will you go and do in the US if you get there? I'm not really sure. No, they won't give you that visa because they want to be sure that you're not going to be trafficked or get into trouble when you get. They want to be sure you know where you're staying, where you're working, your role, your HR manager, the address of the company you'll be going to when you get to the US, and so on. So that is why they set up that process of getting the visa stamp. So people are not just being trafficked or people don't know what they are even up for when they get to the United States. I just wanted to add that real quick before we go into the Q&A session. So over to you, Eniola. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. And I'm so excited to listen to all of the questions that you might have for me today.
All right, thank you so very much, Mr. Abimbola. So thank you so much for the time. Despite the time difference, you still have to ensure to grace this webinar. So I'm over to my dear global citizens. Do you have questions to ask our guests for today? You would be so glad and willing to answer them. You might want to, drop them in the comment section. So please feel free to ask questions. I'll be reading them out, and of course, you would definitely see them in the comment section. So drop your questions. Okay, are our spouse able to work, sir?
So the general answer is yes, but I'll go into more details. What a spouse gets on the H1B visa is the H4 visa, right? And you can't work on that H4 visa. You can only like go to school, get medical care and all of those things, but you can apply for a work visa as an H4 visa holder. So you still need to apply for another work permit. But yes, you're qualified to apply for that work permit to work. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. So the general answer is yes, but not on the specific H4 visa, dependent visa, right? You have to get another type of work permit for the spouse to be able to work.
Okay, thank you so much, boss. So we have one question. We have three now. So from Olubajo Oluwatobi says that, is there an associated cost with the petition filing after selection?
That's a very good question. One thing I like to tell people is that immigration or migrating is not for the faint-hearted. It's not. It's a very expensive process. But these processes also are more expensive than each other. There are some that are very expensive, there are some that are not so expensive. And this is what I mean. If you're going to school in the UK or in the US, right, you're thinking about 15 to 20,000 pounds upwards, right? Cost of living, all of that. Compare that to going to work somewhere where you can actually earn money. Also, where you are able to take dependents with you. Let's say you're married. The people I really like that do the H1B are the married ones who get an approval and go with 4 children. So that's like 6 people enjoying the privilege, right? 4 children and 2 parents. But the single ones, my single people in the house, sorry, if you get selected, you'll be the only one to enjoy the privilege, right? So moving to the question, yes, it comes with a cost, both government fees and legal fees. And this year, because of the increase in the USCIS fees, it will be as high or as low, depending on what you're comparing it with, as $8,000, to get the filing stage done, right? But think about it. If you're a family of 4 people and you think about comparing this to, the student route, all the other routes that you can think about, is still a very good So you have to put that $8,000 into perspective compared to if you have to go to school or if you have to, do all the other types of visas that you know about. It's still a very reasonable cost to pay for it. So I hope I've answered that.
Yes, yes. All right.
Yes.
The next question says, if you do not have a bachelor's degree or HND, can you still apply?
Well, I like the question, but you know the answer. The answer is no, because they specifically said it is for people with bachelor's degree. So I don't know why you think you can
Okay, I
still apply.
think okay,
You can
maybe
still apply
sorry.
though, but you won't be selected. That's the
Okay, I think
thing.
maybe this person, perhaps maybe this person has like a professional, professional certificate.
Nothing. There's
So,
no shortcut. It's a bachelor's degree or HND.
all right.
Straightforward.
Okay. All right. So the next question is, are there limitations to the hours
Well, I
the
think you're
spouse
missing
can work?
one. Hold on. I think you're missing a question. Let me just read it here. Sorry about that. Somebody said I registered since September for this process.
I
What is
already told that.
expected of me? You already replied?
Yes, you
Oh,
said
okay, okay.
so
Oh,
we
okay.
could just
Enola at Weverty. Yeah, or talent visa at weverty.com. So, but the answer to that is you must have been registered in the lottery already. But we're sharing or sending registration slips from like today or tomorrow for the people who have already entered the lottery. And you probably receive yours very soon. If you registered that long, you must have been entered into the lottery. Okay. So are there limitations to the
yes.
hours the spouse can work? No, there are no limitations. Yeah. So thanks for the clarification on the employment part. I have a couple of questions. What one is unable to get another role to transfer their H1B to from the recruitment agency, or the recruiter is unable to secure a different employment, will you remain in the role used? Yes, you remain in that role, but don't forget, they are recruitment agencies. So if they don't get you a title or a role, or you don't get yourself, you just remain almost unemployed, like without pay. But you'll be legal in the US. You can, but so what we strive for is within the first 3 months, people should be able to get. In fact, once you're selected, we already, you know, helping you get your resume good. You're already applying to jobs. You're already, checking out Indeed, LinkedIn, all of the job websites that you know. So I don't see any reason why anybody would be in the US for 3 years. Come on now, and not get any job. And you're educated, so I don't think that should happen really. And the second one is, with the original employment used to secure the visa be paying? I've answered you. The answer is no. This is not an employment opportunity, and it's funny how people mistake it. We tell people we are not a recruitment agency or an employment company. We are a visa assistance company, or we are an immigration.
And
So these are immigration opportunity. For instance, if you get a green card through the visa lottery or through any process, you land in the United States with a green card, which allows you to work, but it doesn't come with a job offer. You still have to go and also and apply to jobs and do interviews. So this is the same, just that it's not a green card, it's a work permit. So it doesn't come with a job. It's not a recruitment process. It is an immigration or a work permit opportunity. I hope that is clear.
right, Mr. Zili Junia, I hope that is clear and I guess is able to answer your questions.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be taking, let's say, more questions if you would. Yeah. Okay, Claire, thanks. All right, can my family join me after, or we must go together at the same time?
So it's totally a family decision. They can join after or go together, but there is no, some people don't even bring their families at all. So it is dependent on, the choice or decision of the family.
All right, sir, thank you very much. Okay, can I apply with my MSc or it has to be BSc?
So
I audit yeah, this seconds. That's
good
it.
question. You can apply with your MSc, but if you want to, because there's a special advantage for people with masters. I forgot to mention that, but it must only be that you studied the masters in the United States. So if you studied your masters outside the US, it doesn't count. So your bachelor's is still what matters. But if you studied your bachelor's in the United States, your master's, you have a special place. You have a higher chance of being selected because they usually separate like 20,000 visas for people with US masters. So that's apart from the regular people they will select. They will select 20,000 people who have US masters. So I hope you got that. If your master's is not from the US, it doesn't count.
Okay, I think that answers your question. Is asking that the MSc is from United, one of the schools in the UK. That's still, I think it answers your question.
Answer your question.
If it's
If it's not
not,
US, then it doesn't count. Just your bachelor's.
right, what is this?
So can
Right,
I switch
so
my employer with zooming at the original employer? Background, my current employer is also registered in the US, but I intend to apply without them. I
the
request
cost of
a
transfer.
transfer if I get the visa. Yes, you can do that. You can do that. You can do that. You don't even have to resume. But one of the things, guidance we give people is that it only makes sense if your employer that gave you the visa is in, let's say, Texas or New York. You have to arrive in that city at least. Or if it's like you're going to school in Atlanta and then you go and land in Texas, and they're asking you, this your school is far from this place now. What will you tell them, right? So you have to first land in that city where even resume. It won't cost you anything to go to the office or resume if you have to, and then you can start your H1B transfer immediately. So yes, you can do that. Also, since Vesti helps with resumes, do they also help with recommendation letters? So when we say resume, help with resume, we don't help you create your resume. We just help you make it better. So let's say, the way they describe an electrician. But if someone, I have my communications lead on the call, if you tell Ife to describe an electrician, he can say somebody who is proficient in, or as a physicist, using electrical bulbs to illuminate spaces and ensure that people are not there's a way you can describe an electrician without calling them an electrician, or calling your driver your chauffeur or your chief logistics officer, right? So there are ways you can make things look better, and of course they're not fraudulent. It's just you amplifying your profile. So these are things that we can assist you with, but we don't help you create because we don't even know where you've worked or what your life's work has been about, right? So that's just an example. So when you say recommendation letter, we don't help you get the recommenders because people ask us a lot of ridiculous things about, oh, I don't know the people that know you because we don't engage in fraud, or because if I help you get a recommender, that's fraud, pure fraud. Because a recommender has to be somebody who knows you and knows your work ethic and can, attest to it. So now, if you now want us to help you draft something compelling for somebody that knows you to sign or read and approve, yes, we can do that. We can definitely do that. But we can't help you get a recommender or design or create a resume. No, we need something to work with. So that's why we're different. We want to be here for the long haul. We're a venture-backed company. We want to be here for the future. We want governments to understand our professionalism and not, classify us as one of those street agents that just help people do all kind of shady things. Okay. So I hope I answered that question about resume and recommendation letters.
Okay, hope your question was answered, Mr. Kilabi. I just saw. Could you please just say something if your question was answered? All right, more questions for the H1B visa lottery, the unknown insights about the H1B visa lottery. If you still have questions you want to ask us, please feel free. I'll be posting the link again. Should you want to proceed, please do well to, take your, make your decision. Yes, this is the best time. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kilabi. Any more questions, please? All right, is the $715 paid during registration be deducted from the 8? No. All right. No. All right, thank you, sir. All right, I think we'll be taking one more question, then we call it a great webinar for the H1B. Any more questions, please? All right, so let me use this opportunity to let you know that if you yet to follow us on any of our socials, do well to follow us on LinkedIn at Vesti, Twitter, of course, Vesti Official, TikTok, Vesti Team. And of course, we have the Going Global events coming across 4 cities: Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Accra, Ghana. So please, if you have anyone in any of these cities, do well to let them know. I will be posting the link as well. So you would, how much will it cost, please? Sorry, I wouldn't know which of the prices you're asking for. Could you please be clear on it? Just let me know which of the fee you're talking about. So maybe to answer your question, she baby onye DB. All right, so we have our Going Global Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, Accra coming up. So please do well to be a part of this. We have our representative, our team members coming across these cities to, you know, to tell you more about vesting. Yes. So please do well to be a part of this. Register and be a part of this great journey. Must I arrive to resume immediately? The visa is approved. I am in North America. I'm in another North American country, and I am positioned to get my permanent residence later this year. So in the event that I am not at liberty to travel yet, can I delay my arrival in the US? Mr. Abimala, generally, yes. Okay. But not too long. Okay.
Yeah, so it only makes sense, right? If you get a visa, let's say, and within 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, you don't arrive, it's already looking funny. And at the point of entry, they can ask you, oh, you got this visa 6 months ago. So you're just attracting more questions. There are no rules around these things, but sometimes it's just like you can just use your discretion to say, okay, what if I was the officer and somebody was supposed to resume 7 months ago? Will I not ask them that, oh, why are you just resuming? So there are really no hard and fast rule around it. It's just to not make it too long. We know people who are just arriving. There are some people from last year's H1B who have still not arrived till now, and it's March already, and they should have resumed in October. And the reason is that the country you are born into matters, right? There are people that are students in the UK within a 2, 3 weeks period, they already found appointments. In Lagos, sometimes you have to wait 1 month, 2 months to get your own appointment, right? So that has been delaying some people to get the appointment, right? So there are no rules around it. Some people, 1 year after, they still haven't resumed, and they will still resume. So as long as you have a valid reason to not have resumed, okay?
Thank you very much, sir. Do you automatically get an approval when you apply?
Like I said earlier, we don't give 100% assurance to anybody, but the chances of an approval is very, very high, right? Except for fraud or a mistake, or like the person asking they don't have a bachelor's and they still apply. Those are things that can cause. I've sent you an FAQ answer to that, but generally we don't give a guarantee, but it's almost easy to you know, I think this person just joined, but we don't talk about job. Yeah, it's not an employment opportunity, it's a visa opportunity. So whether you get a job when you come here depends on whether you are qualified to get a job, whether you are certified, and so on and so forth. So, but we don't discuss employment. We're not an employment agency. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much, sir. All right, so want to say a very big thank you for gracing our webinar. It's alright to have to get your time because of your busy schedule. So on behalf of the global citizens right here, would like to say a very big thank you. Which of the payment does the you could please send a DM, please, if an email if you want to proceed. We'll talk about that. All right. So what's a very big thank you? Please drop a thank you message to our guests. Let's appreciate him. Drop an emoji to say thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Abimbala Amoson. We hope that when we call you again, you would answer us.
Definitely. If I still love my job, I'll answer you. Thank you
All right,
so much.
man.
Thank
All
you for
right.
thinking.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
All righty.
And thank you, everyone. So, like I said, do well to follow us across all of our social media platforms. We have, testimonial videos from people that has benefited from the H1B visa lottery. Should you're still doubting, please feel free to go on LinkedIn, go on Twitter, go on TikTok to get to hear from them, yourself. They said it's better you hear the good news by yourself with your koro eyes before instead of hearing it from someone else. Yes, the webinar is recorded. You can get it on our YouTube. I'm going to drop the link right now so you can get to rewatch on YouTube. Okay, so I have it here. All right, so do well to rewatch on YouTube. Yeah. All right, so thank you very much for joining, my dear global citizens. I can't wait to see you in the US, of course, and I can't wait for you to take the first step in having to click on the link. Yes, click on the link where you will begin. Like you need to start from somewhere. Enough of procrastination. I can see someone has been saying, I've been procrastinating this in the last 4 years, 2 years. Do well to start. Send a message to us, send a DM to us. I will be willing to reply you and, of course, to hold your hands together alongside my bosses in the industry and, of course, Avesti to make your coming to America a dream come through. So, yeah, thank you so very much. And until then, have a good night and a great weekend. Bye.